Caitlin Clark's rookie year, drawing record viewership, record attendance, and what did we hear? It's not because of Caitlin Clark. This was always going to happen. It was just a matter of time. Okay. Year 2, Caitlin Clark only plays in 13 games. What? The WNBA still puts up record viewership? So the WNBA, heading into year 3, has decided to double down on the "we never needed Caitlin Clark in the first place" narrative.
WNBA is acting like it doesn't need Caitlin Clark. They cut big arena fever road games from 9 to 4. Meanwhile, Nike drops Caitlin gear and the demand goes crazy. That's the whole story. And it's why fans are turning on the league. ESPN can debate impact all day, but the WNBA speaks with decisions. Here's the decision. Last season, Indiana had 9 road games moved into larger arenas. This season, it's 4. And no, the league didn't stop moving games. It moved more games overall. It went from 15 arena moves last season to 19 this season. So the league is shifting more games. But the Fever are getting fewer of the upgrades. That's why this title lands.
Last year, they had 9 games in the beginning of the season in big NBA arenas. This year, that number is down to 4 games, yet the league has went from 15 games last year, 19 games in NBA arenas this year. Teams move fewer Fever visits after Caitlin Clark's injury-riddled season. Indiana had 9 road games moved to larger arenas last year, but just 4 so far for 2026. WNBA teams are moving more games to different arenas this upcoming season, but Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever have significantly fewer of those games.
Because even if nobody says the words out loud, the schedule is sending a message. Now, a fair pushback is, maybe it's just logistics. Fine, but picture the situation like a business. You run a venue. You see one opponent coming to town that spikes demand. You have proof from last season, you have resale prices, and you have sellouts. Do you go smaller? Or do you grab the biggest building you can? That's what makes this feel intentional. And in about 20 seconds, I'm going to give you the one move that proves the league blinked. The quiet pivot they always make when the money forces their hand. But first, the clearest receipt.
And the conversation being is the treatment of Caitlin Clark. Ever since Caitlin Clark has got into this league, it's always obstacle after obstacle for this young lady. And it's clear to me, and it should be clear to all of you guys, that there is a hidden agenda against Caitlin Clark for her to be successful in the WNBA. Now, I know some of you guys is thinking, John, what do you mean it's a hidden agenda? Let's start with the first year. You know, she was attacked by pretty much players. Second year, attacked again, but the whistle was just so horrible for Caitlin. She never seen the free throw line at all prior to her getting hurt.
The Fever averaged 15,884 fans on the road last season. That's about 4,000 more than any other team. That gap is not normal. That gap is a single-player economy. People aren't buying WNBA tickets. They're buying Caitlin tickets. So when you reduce big arena Fever games from 9 to 4, you create 2 problems. Problem 1, you leave money on the table. Problem 2, you create suspicion. Because fans don't interpret this as operational caution. They interpret it as gatekeeping. They read it as, you're trying to prove you don't need her. Now zoom in on what that looks like in the real world. A smaller venue. A Fever game announced, tickets vanish, resale jumps, fans travel anyway. The building feels tight, the vibe turns sour. That's not just a bad night, that's a trust leak. Because the fan thinks, you knew demand was coming. Now here's what makes the timing brutal. This is happening while the league is also dealing with bigger uncertainty in the background. Scheduling windows, arena availability, and the fact that big buildings don't hold dates forever. NBA arenas have concerts, they have events, they have other bookings. If you don't lock dates early, you don't maybe miss out. You lose the option completely, and so you can call it logistics, but fans see a choice. And that choice becomes the story. Now let's swing to the other half of the title, Nike. Because while the WNBA schedule shrinks Caitlyn's big arena footprint, Nike is getting hit by the opposite force: demand. Here's the Nike scene people can visualize. It's midnight. The drop goes live, fans refresh, pages stall, checkout fails. The internet floods with screenshots. The viral claim in that Nike story is insane. A $40 shirt, a new Caitlyn logo, and supposedly a wave of traffic so heavy it overwhelmed the system. The story says 10 million site visits and 500,000 orders before things crashed. Are those exact numbers inflated? Maybe. But the signal's still real. Nike doesn't accidentally get caught off guard by normal demand. Nike is built for launches. Therefore, if Caitlyn triggers chaos in that machine, she's not moving like a regular player. She's moving like a superstar. And here's what matters: the WNBA can downplay Caitlyn with a schedule, but it can't outvote the market. And in a moment, I'll show you the exact pressure point where the league will be forced to switch directions. Because Nike demand isn't just merch, it's leverage. When one player sells like that, everything downstream shifts. Sponsors lean in, broadcasters lean in, owners lean in, and the league's tone changes too, even if they pretend it won't. That's why this conflict can't last. The WNBA is sending one signal: fewer big buildings. Nike is sending another: bigger than ever. Those two realities can't coexist for long. One of them has to move. And we already know which one moves: the league. Because the money always pulls the league back to reality. Now let's talk about why fans get nasty over this. It's not because fans think the WNBA should worship one player. It's because fans hate one thing more than anything: disrespect. Fans show up. Fans spend. Fans travel. Fans bring friends. And if they feel like the league is resisting the moment out of pride, they revolt. They don't say, "Oh, interesting strategy." They say, "You're sabotaging the best thing you've got." And that becomes the narrative that spreads. Now here's the tell that reveals the WNBA has changed its mind. It's not a press release, it's not a headline, it's not ESPN, and it's late venue upgrades. Watch what happens after the schedule is already out. If you start seeing Fever Road games quietly moved into bigger arenas later, that's the league blinking. That's teams admitting the demand forced their hand. That's the silent confession that "we don't need Caitlyn" doesn't survive contact with ticket sales. And when that starts happening, three things show up right away. 1, more moved to a larger venue announcements. 2, resale spikes around Fever games. 3, broadcast windows quietly improve for Indiana matchups. Because once the machine realizes where the attention is, it stops arguing. It starts adjusting, so don't get distracted by speeches, watch the moves. Because the WNBA can say it's bigger than one player. But Nike just reminded everyone what the public already decided.